Hello. You okay?
Are
Yeah?
we recording?
Okay.
Right.
Okay, Paul. Hello.
Jack, thank you for coming on board.
No matter. Thanks for having me, buddy.
So this is, the first guest you've on, but we're recording a few different episodes today. So this is the first guest from the podcast, Jack Martin. So if people don't know you already from the 15 TikTok videos you're doing a day at the moment, who are you?
I'm Jack Martin.
No way.
I am a car dealer from Clonmel. I'm from Care originally, but the garage is in Clonmel. We sell German branded cars, preferably the higher end stuff like the M Sports, S lines, AMG lines. That's kind of our bread and butter.
Lovely.
We started in business in the summer of 23. We've progressed a lot in the last year and a half, coming up to 2 years. So yeah, haven't much else to say about that. Still kind of in the early stage of the journey, still in the growth stage, but so far so good.
Yeah. No, I've been obviously, I suppose to give a background as well about me and Jack. You'll have seen we do a lot of kind of similar stuff on social media and things like that. But I know you, excuse me, a good number of years now at this stage.
7 years or so, yeah.
7 years, yeah. Back in a former life, I'm out my own now nearly 6 years, but we were working together in Hertz car sales in Blarney.
Yeah.
2017, 2018 kind of time. I was sales manager at the time, and Jack and Gino Forte were the two salesmen at the time. The glory days.
Yeah. How shit was I?
It's funny, and we might go into it in more detail, but like Jack, to see you now compared to where you were back then. To be honest, I was a degenerate as well for the most part in my mid 20s, like, but you're actually a businessman now.
Yeah.
Like you were quite how do I say this now? Even just with paperwork and everything like that, you're a bit kind of, and you don't mind me saying that.
I was
You're a bit of a mess, like.
Yeah.
You know, and Gino at the time, now he's younger again. He was only like 21, I'd say, at the time, 2021, and you were mid 20s, I'd say. And I was just there. I was like, oh my god, I'm with these two fucking young lads below here now at the moment.
Yeah.
But in fairness to you, like I said, you learned a lot. Like how long were you in Hertz in the end, actually?
5 years, five and a half years.
And you started off like a salesman there, and I think you were a manager by towards the end of it, weren't you? Or for the last couple of years,
by the time I was 26, I think I was the manager in there, yeah.
What did you learn from it? What was your kind of... Because I had great learnings from my time with Bollens and Hertz in general. What did you learn in those 5 years? Do you think that was beneficial to you?
So probably learned more from the business manager side of things. So before I was fully sales manager, I was doing the business manager side of it, which is finance manager, for people that don't know. So you do need a certain level of organisation skills to run a business, and that's what I took the most from Hertz. Learned a lot about myself and my own sales techniques because I was left to my own devices there. And I started off in Keary's, and the culture between what we had in Hertz compared to Keary's was night and day.
In what way?
In Keary's, it's a very hard sell, old school.
Probably would be a bit alright.
Not bad mouthing Keary's at all. They look after their customers excellently, provide a great service, but it's real old school sales. And we kind of had a new way of thinking, bit softer approach.
Yeah.
I'll buy off these lads because they're nice, not because they threw the hammer at me and now I'm signing up the paperwork. And that suits my personality a lot more. It's a softer approach. Yeah,
I think that's the way things are kind of after going there now. Like, I'm not saying the harder sale approach doesn't work, like, but it never suited me either. Like, it's not like it's not my style. Like, you know what I mean? I think like if you focus more on having a good product and making people want to buy off you rather than you having to force them to buy off, you know what I mean? I find with the harder approach, and a lot of garages still do it, like, you've one shot. You either nail him on the day, you know what I mean?
Saying that, the best salesman I've ever seen in my life is Kelvin Flanagan. He's hard sale. Oh. He is an animal. Technical
difficulties, yeah.
Paul, come on.
Just turn the light.
Kelvin Keary's hard sale approach, old school, but his numbers are insane. You couldn't believe it, like.
Yeah.
You're talking 60, 70 units by himself most months.
Really?
Yeah. Like in the January, I think he'd be doing 60. As far as I can remember now, but it's a long time ago, but I think he's around that.
And it's funny you should say that. I my old manager years ago, Ken Rochford is his name, and I think Ken watches some of my stuff. So if you're watching this, Ken, I'm giving you a shout out. But his numbers are really good. But he was the same. He was a bit pushy. He was a bit kind of a bit more of a harder sales approach than I'll say I was. But at the end of the day, they get the results, don't they? Like,
and they have the repeat customers as well.
Yeah,
a conveyor belt of repeat customers keep coming back for more. So
I think
they do it in a right way that suits their personality, but it doesn't come across right for us.
Do you know what I mean? Even here we'll say like Marty and let's say Gino when he was here and Dave when he was here, they all have their own different sales kind of things. You know, what works for Marty mightn't have worked for Dave, or what works for Philly mightn't have worked for. It just, you have to see what works best for yourself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like Marty's kind of he doesn't carry himself as a traditional salesman. He's not pushy. He doesn't have this, slicked back hair. You know what I mean?
He's real friendly.
He's he's approachable, but he's kind of got that countryman kind of vibes. But like, it works for him. Like, you know what I mean? And if you sit down, they get to like him. And I think you just need to find out what works best for you. Like, do you know what I mean? Because everyone's got their own kind of little thing. So you were, let's say, Hertz 5 years. At what point had you in the back of your head then, right, Jack Martin Motors, I want to kind of...
So throughout my whole life, I used to like to have a good time. And because of that, I was a serious underachiever. Like I was...
With a good time, you mean like
drinking and partying and doing all that kind of stuff.
I hear you.
So it was always like really bottom of the barrel, scraping past the exams. But I always knew I had capability in me to do more. Obviously, you didn't see that at the time because I was in full flight of enjoying myself. I remember one time you said, you'll never be a business manager. You just can't do it. I was thinking in my head, I know I could. I'll stop drinking soon. So I always knew I wanted to progress in my job at least. And I think, to be honest, since I saw you going out on your own, I was like, right, okay, Paul's able to do it. Look how well he's doing. I know I'm able to do it as well.
Yeah.
No offense to you, but
it
gave me motivation in that kind of way.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, seeing you doing it, that's what sparked it in me.
I think is even for me, like I saw for years when I was working for someone else, not so much in the bowling group or anything like that, but like when I saw other people in business or other people in the motor trade that were doing well, and I'm like, yes, anyway, for those watching on audio, the lights have gone out again. As I was saying, when I saw other people that I was like, I knew in my head, and that's not being arrogant right that, but I see I'm a better operator than you, and you're making a living out of it. Yeah. So if you're making a base living out of being in business, surely I could do this a bit better myself. Like, and I think that's a lot of it. Just like, there's a lot of people in business that are fucking shit. Like, aren't they? Just call a spade, like, aren't they?
Yeah, there is. And to be honest, my view on it is a little bit differently. I don't look at the shit guys and think I can do it better. I look at the guys who are doing really well and hope that I can do it half as good.
That's another way of looking at it.
And when I get into it, turns out I'm able to do it as good usually.
But I suppose where I was trying to get at that, I was more kind of saying is like, worst case scenario, I'll do okay out of it. Like, you know, when you're kind of thinking like, I won't fail because I can see other lads that I think I can do better than. But like, yeah, you always compare yourself to... I
get your way of thinking,
you know what I mean?
But my way of thinking is looking at the other end of the spectrum, saying, if I can even achieve 20% of that, I'll survive. So it's just...
But you have to look at the lads doing really well, and I kind of try and base yourself off that, like, because I find in the motor trade as well, you be chatting away to lads, and a lot of lads they surround themselves by other people who are in the kind of same boat, like, and all that. Oh, it's very quiet everywhere, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, it's just very quiet. You can convince yourself to believe anything that's going on at the moment. Like, oh, March is a quiet month. Sure, October's always quiet. And all that, like, and lads think that everywhere is quiet. Whereas I will go back to, I know a few lads in Keary's again, like, you know, even car store, like, they're constantly busy. They're constantly flogging out cars. Non-stop, and I look at them, it's like, well, if they're busy, we should be busy. Yeah. So you have to you have to compare yourself to the lads that are best in the industry or the busiest in the industry and aim for that, like, because, you know, you can't be looking at other lads struggling, other lads quiet. Like, I think that's...
You've seen it when you were working in dealerships before. If there's a couple of negative lads, it's a cancer. It spreads through the whole team. It can really affect the month if lads are... Yeah. Like, we worked with a couple in Hertz who were really great lads, just wouldn't have been great sales mentality, and they'd just jump on negativity and drags it down.
Yeah, no.
So, but when you're working for yourself, you're in control of the culture, so it's easy to keep things positive, you know?
No, 100%, like, but it makes a kind of makes a massive difference. So we'll go back to the point now when you started your business, right? I suppose for people that don't know how it's done, like, right, where do you like, how do you get from... people see you online now at the moment, right? And I suppose we can try and summarize this now in a couple of minutes, really. They see you online with all your nice Mercedes, 20, 30 grand, and you have 15, you have 20 of them there. How do you get from working for someone else, basically, to now having whatever it is, a couple of $100 grand worth of cars and a showroom and everything like that? As I think a lot of people are looking at that, especially younger people and everything they're starting out, that seems daunting. What's the rough kind of trajectory, or what's the rough process to get to where you were or at the start to now?
The toughest part of it was the 2 years, 3 years leading up to it. I was living in a world of constant anxiety about everything that could go wrong.
Thinking ahead now, or?
Thinking ahead, leading up while I was working and saving. Where am I going to get stock? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? That was the toughest part. Once I actually saved up enough to get going, and I was in control of the situation, things got a lot easier.
Yeah.
You could. I did a video on it on TikTok the other day. There's few different ways you can go about it. I was living in Cork City, so I had no space to do a bit of trading on the side, living in an apartment.
Yeah.
So I just had to save up, take out a huge loan in my personal name, as I was telling you before, because they wouldn't give me the business loan. So I just had to save up and put myself in a position where it was an all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do it that way. You can start a limited company, sell 3 or 4 cars a month on the side in the evening time.
Yeah.
Build up revenue that way. Make it easier to get funds when you do want to open the showroom or whatever. But if you want to go down the route I went, you just have to make sure you have enough saved to give yourself a bit of breathing room for if things go wrong.
I think more than anything else, like, because I remember you telling me at the time you're taking out a kind of couple of loans and all that, and you have to back yourself more than anything else. The way I looked at it when I started, it's like, right, what like, I'm just trusting my own ability to make this work above everything else. Like, do you know what I mean? Because on the surface, people not looking at it. If you don't have the self belief in yourself, like, to other people on the outside looking in, it looks like a bigger risk than maybe it is in your head. Like, would you agree with that? Like,
bigger risk would be staying where I was.
Exactly it.
Just I couldn't live with it, and I just had enough. It was just time to make the jump.
Yeah.
And I actually did it a little bit early. My plan was to save another 10 or 15 grand, so I was really cutting it thin. And I took out more of a loan than I was planning to. But I just had enough of it. I was 29 at the time, and it was just time to jump.
Yeah, I am going back to what you said there about a bigger risk staying where he was. I was the same. I was 30. You were around the same.
29.
Yeah, 29. I was 30 going out on my own, and the way I looked at it, like, I had a management position as you did at kind of my late 20s or whatever like that, and I was 30, and the biggest risk of all to me was being 40 or 45 or 50 and being in the same position I am. Now, a lot of people, again, that might sound ungrateful because it was a very well paid job. Like,
it was an excellent job.
Yeah, great job. And it wasn't just about money, and you know, just based on financial alone, you'd be fine. You'd have a grand life off that, never that. But it just, there was more in me, and I think there was obviously more in you as well. I saw lads that were 40, 45, 50 working in similar jobs than we were at the time, and a lot of them, and they were actually a bit miserable, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, and to be honest, maybe my mind would have been a bit different if we were in a different industry. Like, it doesn't matter if you sold 5 million worth of cars the year before.
Yeah.
If I have a couple of bad months and I have 1 or 2 many rows with the director, it doesn't matter if I have a mortgage, wife, kids, pension. You're gone. That's it. It's a cutthroat industry.
Yeah.
So it was more about me being in control of my life rather than money. It's an anxiety control thing for me more than anything.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. No, it's you're in control of your own destiny. What I did like about sales, even working for someone else, is that, like, you were in control of how much money you made in that particular month. Like, to be honest, my ideal of hell would be on, like, a salary scale. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like public sector.
Yeah, absolutely.
$2,000 extra a year, like, or something like that. Like, whereas, you know, and it's the same even, what's great about sales as well, even in car sales, and is, like, it's kind of instant gratification. Like, you know what I mean? You sell something even in car sales and you get paid commission on it that month or that following month. You sell a car and you get money on it today, and if you have a great month, you get paid extra. And I love that kind of thing. Like,
yeah, like, I even find, I actually used to think I had a depression or something like that, because, you know, we were going through a quiet phase in Hertz before we left.
Yeah.
Won't get into it too much, but I was very close to calling a doctor and seeing if there was antidepressants I could go on. Genuinely, I'm not messing. It turns out that if I'm idle, my thoughts just get very dark. So that's why sales in general suits me more. 'Cause if I was just going into work 9 to 5, doing the mundane thing, spreading out work to get me through the week, it wouldn't suit me at all. I'd crumble.
Yeah, no.
So it's not. Look, that suits some people.
Yeah, no, it does.
They like a work-life balance. I'm a bit more extreme in my personality, as are you.
Yeah.
Where we're kind of full-on individuals, you know.
Yeah. We'll go back. We'll definitely go into this in more detail. But what we'll touch on as well is when you're starting the business, right? You started off. Let's say you have a few cars. You got your personal loan, right?
Yeah.
How do you get from that point to where you are now? Like,
okay, so for the first month it was grand. Sold a few cars, new business bounce, people giving you a turn or whatever.
Yeah.
was stocking your Renault Clios, Qashqai's, run-of-the-mill stuff, cheap stuff. My thinking in that was obviously cheaper stuff, more stock, more sales, get the name out there, and of course less warranty issues. I had a vision before I got going that I wanted to be where I am now with the higher end stuff eventually, but my plan was for the first few years to do the run-of-the-mill stuff in case bad warranty issues coming back. My thinking on that was wrong, because it's the run-of-the-mill stuff to cause more warranty issues because they tend not to be as well looked after. So in my second month, we sold 4 cars. I lost money, didn't sleep for the month. I was thinking,
you lost money on the cars or as a business?
No,
as a whole.
As a business, I need to do something different. I remember texting
it's tough on the head, isn't it? Like when you have a bad run, like especially at the start, you start questioning yourself, and you know, it's like, oh geez, maybe what'll I do, or maybe, am I doing something wrong? And it is tough, like, and I've experienced that as well. Like,
and I was doing something wrong. So I remember we went away with Katie for the weekend. I think it was her birthday present. I spent the full weekend on the laptop trying to figure out different ways of getting stock that might work. It was a horrible experience for the two of us. Really stressed. I remember texting you saying, look, Paul, there's this Audi. I think it was 10 grand. It's a lot of money to me. Should I just buy it? That's 2 whole units. Should I put money? And you were like, do you know what? The month isn't working for you. Just go for it. Bought the Audi. Put up a video on Instagram before the thing was even prepped.
Was it 13 or 14 A4S line or something like that?
13 A4S line. Still see it around Clonmel.
I remember it.
Yeah, and sold the next day pretty much. So I was like, okay.
Isn't it like you get a little kind of light bulb?
Yeah, the Qashqais and the Clios aren't working. I'm going to buy another few Audis. And they all just flew and it snowballed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got to where I am.
And a lot of it then is, because people often wonder as well myself, but a lot of it is accumulated profits basically, right?
Oh yeah.
You're just, instead of paying out a big salary to yourself, you're leaving money in the business, and you leave it kind of build up, and then the more money you leave build up, the more cars you can get. Because everything is, I think a lot of people starting off, myself included, yourself, Dave Tobin, another ex-Hertz employee that's out on his own there as well. You start off on the cheaper cars, right? And the reason you do that is because you kind of have to, right? Because you don't have the money to be stocking a load of 20 and 30 grand cars. But I think a lot of people now, and especially you realise that you do need to get out of the cheaper cars and into kind of, not high-end cars, but just better cars.
Yeah.
You do, just for your own sanity. It might sound good to, oh sure, if I sell 25 grand cars, shouldn't that be better than selling 6 higher-end cars? And in theory, you know, that might seem to make sense, but as you've seen, that is not the case. Like.
No.
And it's
cheap
just
stuff is a road to nowhere.
You're a busy fool a lot of the time. Like I find, like, and I know a lot of people want them, but like, you know, numbers of units you sell and the numbers of units of cars you have in stock, that's all vanity. Like, the actual profit and how much you make out of them and how for your, you know, that's the sanity, as they say. Like, you know, and I think that's kind of you've gradually progressed from units maybe and cheaper stuff to kind of less units, more focus on better cars. I think that's kind of it, isn't it, really?
Yeah, of course. And look, less cars on the road, less warranty exposure as well.
Yeah.
What's the point in selling 10 cars with the same profit as 5 cars when you have twice the comebacks? It's more hassle and it ends up being less money in the long run.
And what kind of numbers, how many are you selling in a particular month at the moment? What's your kind of average?
So overall, we'd be aiming for around 20. I think January we got 23 out.
That's very good, and especially when you're the only person selling. I know Tammy's with you as well now.
Yeah.
But
so our turnover so far this year is over $1 million.
Excellent.
And I think last year we did 1.8
in the whole year.
Year, so a big improvement on last year already.
Yeah, that's excellent going, Jack. Like,
what about yourself?
How many units? Like,
yeah.
We've done 140 units for the quarter, and 140 units for the quarter, but I think we probably get delivered about 130. And turnover, we do about $1 million a month. But like, again, I have a lot of mouths to feed here. Like,
yeah,
you know
of course, huge overheads.
That'd be kind of where we kind of averaging out. And you're obviously a business owner now. You're 2 years in. What is Jack now? How is your life different now, right? I know you're doing quite well, like, so be it just from a kind of a general life point of view or a financial point of view, how is your life different now than it was 3 years ago when you were an employee? We'll start from just life in general, like.
Probably have, look, I'm happier in myself, but like my day-to-day activities and time I get, like my quality of life has gone down.
In what way?
That. Just so busy. I can't relax. I can't watch a movie. I used to love watching movies in the weekends. I can't concentrate on a movie. I'm thinking I should be doing something on my Google page or updating this or updating that. It's like before Tammy came on board, my body started breaking down. Was getting like dry skin all over my body. My eyes were flaking and everything.
Isn't it mad? It doesn't all consume you. I remember Christmas Christmas 2019. Now Marty came on board late November 2019, and just around that time towards the end of 2019, I was the same. I was actually run down. I looked shit.
Yeah.
I looked awful. Like
Yeah, it's the same.
I started. What happened? Right. I was 2019. Right. We were just after opening the Hertz garage. Like I was, I knew I was starting in the back of my head. I knew I was starting my own garage. Right.
Yeah.
And also, I opened Hertz Car Sales Blarney with G end of 18.
Yeah.
So I was opening the garage, getting it up and running, planning my new business. And then I started a new business. 2019 was just an absolute blur. But actually, as you get to a point, like it all consumes you. And I was working so much, I was actually run down so much.
Yeah.
And I felt awful. So you do need to realize that you have a kind of a breaking point. And you have only a certain amount of energy to give. And you need a help, basically, like, you know.
Yeah, I can feel it now creeping up me again the last few weeks. It's just been non-stop all year.
Isn't it tough on the head, like, isn't it? I find that it's you'd want to like what you do if you're self-employed.
Yeah.
Because
if
you don't, it'd be hell.
Hell
I love
on
what I
earth.
do. And so do
I
you.
love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely love the motor trade. Yeah. I don't know where we were going with that.
Which one?
With what we're talking about now.
No, but I was saying, how is your life in general? Like,
That's it. Yeah. Life in general, you think, okay, yeah, I'm doing better financially. I spend so much less now than I did when I was earning a lot less money, because I just don't have time to spend it. I literally, apart from rent and my couple of subscriptions, whatever, I live off €1,200 a month.
I remember you telling me that, like, and I was saying, like, I'm in business good way, and I pay myself a decent salary, and you pay yourself. I don't even. Do you pay yourself minimum wage?
No, I pay my money has gone up because we're going for a mortgage soon, so it had to go up to 60 grand. Drives me mad. I don't need that money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to get the mortgage, I just have to do it.
And why do you feel like? Is it because your whole priority, you get your enjoyment out of the business doing well? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
To be honest, if I want to go buying clothes, or if I go online to buy clothes, I'm like, this is a waste of time, and I go back onto the business page doing something. Like, it's probably a little bit of a disorder nearly at this stage.
Yeah.
I just I'm totally consumed by it. It's an obsession.
I'm this. Yeah. No.
Like, even holidays, look, we'll have a good time when we go to Marbella now in May, but I'd be much happier staying where I am selling cars.
And how does that? Because obviously you're going out with Katie a couple of years. Like, how does that? How does she feel about that? Like, how is she in relation? I know she's also self-employed now as well. Like.
She's very supportive. Sure, like, we're still in the growing phase. We're nearly 2 years in. So last year we went on a couple of weekends away, bank holidays, and she does love her holidays, but she was fine, totally supportive of it. So,
do you like holidays, or do you just think about work when you're away?
I know, to be fair, when we did go away, I enjoyed it. So when I do go away, I probably will be able to switch off again, but it wouldn't bother me if I didn't go on a holiday.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, but look, I want her to have a good time, so I don't mind going, obviously.
It's a kind of a balancing act, like, because as I said, and I was saying to you the other day, like, it's like you can let it all consume you, but when there's kids in the equation there as well, it's a different kettle of fish. Like, you know what I mean? Sophie is a year and a half old, and, like, you can't just work the whole time. You have to kind of be supportive as a dad as well, and it's just trying to get the balance and act. Like, you're trying to still stay in contact with your friends and everything like that.
Yeah.
Spend time with your partner as well, which is also important. Spend time with the kids, and it's trying to do everything, trying to find a bit of time for yourself. Like, it's tough when you're trying to go all in business, but you've a load of other things that are going on or kind of around you. Like, it's a balancing act, and as I said, you've a new arrival on the way as well, as you were telling me. So.
Yeah, very excited, but that's the one thing I'm nervous about is the business. It will take some sort of a hit. I'll have to cool the jets a little bit, but sure, look, as you said, I'll find a balance.
I think it's just about managing your time a bit better. Like, it might be a case of you might need to take on a new member of staff or something like that.
I'm thinking that maybe a new sales member. Yeah,
I think,
probably
like,
could do with it.
Working 6 days a week, if you have a child and you've a lot of sort of stuff, it's tough going. Like, I try and take at least half Saturdays off now, like, or I try and have a bit more of a life. So it is important, like.
And to be honest, I'm nearly at a stage where I'm probably not anywhere near 100% efficient with inquiries.
Yeah,
like bombardment messages on TikTok, Instagram, as well as all the online inquiries. I'm just one man, so it's very hard to get back to them at the best of times. So it's probably the thing that's going to give me a push to take someone on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Which you mentioned TikTok there. That brings us neatly around to our next topic.
The two most hated men in the motor industry.
Mop. I don't know what camera to look into, but if you're watching this, I'm sure there's only one camera on me. two most hated men in the motor industry.
Yeah, that's some compliment, isn't it?
That was fair. And how many likes did it get?
59 the last time I checked.
I've been blocked, so I couldn't see it because he was leaving absolute nonsense on all my videos as well.
Yeah.
Right. We're both. So if people were looking at us, a lot of people would only kind of know us. We're two kind of garages that use TikTok quite regularly.
Yeah.
I suppose. And I noticed recently as well, you've really ramped up your content. You're doing several videos on it. Like, I suppose we all like. Is it? Do you find that it's actually a good tool for business, or what's your views on it? Like?
Well, it definitely doesn't do any harm.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't do any harm. Look, appreciate everyone commenting, everyone sending me messages. You're all great. You help the business out. But to be totally honest with you, like 95% of the inquiries, they don't go anywhere.
Totally, yeah.
But I feel obliged to have a chat back to them because they're engaging with me. And it's fine. That's okay. But it's very time consuming. And I know it's not totally productive.
It's
trying to find a balance and not being rude to people and trying to get back to everyone, but still keeping the content out there.
I find it's good for brand awareness more than actual car sales. Like, do you know what I mean? A lot of people that meet me or they'd see something. I see in your TikToks. You get the name out there, Paul O'Connor or Jack Martin. They'll get the name out there a lot more. But like the messages you get, like, or the comments, much is this. Like, you're never selling a car to an anonymous profile that says much.
No, I've never sold a car to a comment inquiry that said much for me Passat, or what would you give me for this? There's going over. But you still engage with it because you kind of feel obliged.
You kind of have to. Like,
it's always WhatsApp your car to my number, and they never WhatsApp it.
No, I say, or if you're, that's what I say the whole time. You know, someone if I just have a feeling someone's a time waster, I was like, all right, give me a call on this number, or even give the landline a call if you're seriously interested. They never call, or 1 in every 10 times they do. Because sometimes when you're messaging back on TikTok, I try and get them off TikTok and onto WhatsApp or onto a phone conversation as soon as possible.
Yeah, same, yeah.
Because you can, and I find it easier to voice note people back or phone them back rather than I hate just typing all day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, and if they can't even get off TikTok to message you or to phone you, they're probably not that serious.
Yeah,
anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I suppose the negative side of it as well, I find it like we know kind of it's a bit of a tool for business, but like, what a cesspit TikTok is. Like,
it can be bad.
Yeah.
It's funny. Since I changed up my style last
I noticed
year,
that, yeah.
my comments are so positive. Like, it's like I have this entourage who's backing me up. If I get one bad comment, they're all like jumping in. What are you talking about? Jack knows what he's doing. That car is good value. One fella told me yesterday, you could probably get $2,000 more for that A6. And like every other, it's funny, like, because every car I post, mind blown, because every post you'll have like 20, 30 lads saying overpriced. It's funny how it goes on different posts, isn't it?
It's
it can be extremely negative.
Like. I find, I could be wrong now, maybe I am wrong, but like, is the comments on TikTok, they're not quite as bad as they were a year or two ago. I think they're actually, I think more, what I mean by this, right, I think people are more wising up to the fact that the lads that are be commenting are the lads that are at absolutely nothing, that have no intention to buy. I think people know that those lads are fucking losers now at this stage. Like, I think there's a bit of more of an awareness of that. I could be wrong. Maybe that's in my head.
I was intrigued. I did a video about why it's not great for us to take cash anymore. And you got
that's one thing to hook the lads.
Hook, line, and sinker.
The cash is king lads fucking hate that. What are you doing? Oh, you're on about a cashless society.
I had at least 30 dole heads boycott my business over that post, so we may be filing for liquidation soon. But you go into their page on Facebook and like, oh, boycott this man's business, he doesn't take cash. There's a picture of them thrown on the bed smoking a fag. Like, you were never going to come in here with 30 grand cash to buy a car anyway. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, the TikTok comments, you get the usual little bit of abuse. The amount of abuse I got on Facebook, like real personal stuff.
Really?
It drove people
from that video, was it?
From that video, yeah. Facebook took off. Like, it's harder to get views on Facebook and Instagram. It got nearly 100,000 views on Facebook.
On the cash video?
On the cash video.
I think the cash, Facebook would have a lot of kind of older, more kind of, I wouldn't say rural, but like, you know, kind of the construction-y lads. A lot of them,
class
class lads. A lot of those lads would be more so on Facebook, like.
Yeah.
And I think where people kind of get these two mixed up, like, you know, they get car dealers not wanting to take cash from because of the negative, I suppose, attention it brings from revenue, one, and plus we're not getting finance commissions, the second one, and everything that. They get that confused with, you know, the cafes that will only say card only, and as if we're trying to lead a movement to get cash out of society. That couldn't be further from the truth. And a lot of lads, I think that's the issue. A lot of lads mix up the two of them.
Yeah.
And another reason why, and again, we could talk about this for the day, but Another reason why we're trying to discourage the cash lads is because the cash lads don't just want to pay cash; they want to pay cash and get a huge discount.
Yeah.
I think that's the annoying thing. Like,
Yeah, or they are doing something illicit, and that's why they're coming in with 30 grand
Yeah.
cash. I've never had anyone come in with more than around 10 grand. I think one guy wanted to pay 11. I ended up taking 9.5 off him, and that was
Yeah.
fine. And he was a legit guy. He was just a
some lads, no, some of them are legit. Like, and then they'd have literally took the money out of the bank to give to you. And we're
thinking that's the right thing to do.
yeah. But there was very few that I would have like. I think most people just think that's the way you pay for cars. Maybe they haven't done it kind of recently, but a lot of people times we just tell people, look, gosh, you're going to the bank and transfer it to me, like, you know what I mean, and they're kind of okay with it, like. And to be honest, a lot of the lads that would turn off by having that approach, they're probably not lads you want to necessarily kind of do business with anyway, like.
Yeah. Do you find that before you would have got more abuse on TikTok, but it's like the more you put yourself out there, the more respect you get, and the less abuse you kind of get. More people who are like, okay, this fella keeps at it.
I think so. And you know what people love as well, and like people love when you are being honest, and you also tell them, listen, I made a mess of it here. I shouldn't have bought this car. I think the honesty is refreshing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and like often I've sometimes done videos as well where I've said, listen, we've had a quiet week, or we've had this and that. We can't sell that car, and I think it catches some people off guard, like, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, Jesus, fuck, with a recession on the way and everything like that. But other people then, they're like, fair play to you, you're being honest. And I think the benefits to being honest, like, and sometimes you say things that might seem like, I don't know, should be saying that if you're trying to sell that car. I think the benefits to being honest far outweighs any negatives to it, like, you know what I mean? And just pick up your front to people. People don't like being hard sold. People don't like being trying to, you know, real kind of hard sales kind of bullshit kind of approach, like. So I think the honesty comes across, and the honesty definitely comes across in your videos, and I'd like to think mine as well. And I think another thing as well, like, we're both of us are honest about, I'm not ashamed of wanting to make money.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit more toned down than you would in that regards. I try to avoid a little bit more, but
a little bit.
I'm getting a bit more open about it.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, do you know
because people actually enjoy the honesty of that. That's what people engage with.
Yeah, no, they do. Like, yeah, and I think, but people, you know, everyone in business is out there to, and it's a thing in Ireland. Like, everyone in business is out there to make a few quid. Like,
yeah,
and it's taboo, and you're not supposed to say it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm not in, you know, I'm in business to make a good living for myself and to have a good life.
Oh, I don't come on playing the poor mouth. There's no, that's just, I don't want to be a liar either, like.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of people in the comment section, what did you make off this? Do you know, asking me too. I don't get into that stuff, you know.
I don't think Ireland is ready for, like, some people ask me that as well. It's like, I'm transparent, but the social media especially isn't ready for certain levels of transparency because they're just not mature enough, or they're not, it's just, they just can't process it, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I often notice in the comments, I was looking through some of the, like, obviously the people are, the negative things you get off social media are obviously the people giving out about the price, which is a big one.
Yeah.
Another one, which we've chatted about the whole time, is the lads almost praying for a recession.
Oh, they can't wait. Because they had nothing when times are good, they'll have nothing when times are bad. So they hate seeing anyone doing well. And it's not more so us that they want to crumble, it's the people they see driving the nice cars. They don't want to see them driving the nice cars. Isn't
it a mad frame of mind? And I always trying to see where they're coming from, or you know, I try to understand it more than anything else. Like, and I think it's a lot of it, as you touched on there, it's like they just want everyone else to come down to their level because it's easier to do that than for them to do a bit better themselves. Like, you know what I mean? And they feel like if there was a recession, well, sure, I fuck all now, I'd fuck all then. If the recession, then everyone will have fuck all with me.
Yeah.
And I think that's is that the thinking behind it?
It is the thinking, but like I often think back how fortunate I am that I found something I can make money on that I'm passionate about. If I didn't have a love for cars, maybe I'd have that frame of mind as well.
Yeah, I suppose we're coming from a fortunate position.
Very fortunate position. You have to bear that in mind as well. Like, and people are struggling, so you can see why there would be animosity, but still, it's the wrong frame of mind, and it's not going to do them any good.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, but I think I've done a video on it before. But like, maybe if some people do have it genuinely tough, and they did get the shitty end of the stick, and they did, like, maybe you do have it tough. Maybe it is easier for me. Maybe it is easier for that person. But moaning about it on fucking TikTok's not going to change shit. Like, you know what I mean? Even if you do have it tough, like, and I think if you could give people one piece of advice is to, well, stop moaning about it on TikTok and do something yourself. You might want to hear that, like, but
it's funny in the comment section as well. You see a lot of people. I had a discussion with a guy the other day. Another great thing about TikTok is recently I've been having conversations where we'll agree with each other on certain points, and we'll agree to disagree on other things. And I'm actually having real mature conversations with people. But one young lad was commenting on it saying, what he sees in Cork is misery and everyone down in the dumps. And I didn't want to say it to him because I was afraid it would come across wrong in a text, but it's probably the people he's hanging around with.
Totally.
Because they're all feeding off each other's misery. I've been there before. I've hung around with people who are like that. I had to cut them off. Because and look at me and you. Everything we talk about is how great our lives are, how positive, what we can improve on. So it's all about who you're hanging around with.
It's 100% who you're hanging around with, and everything these days as well is like echo chambers, as they say a lot on social media. It's like people are surrounding themselves with people who share their own kind of viewpoints, and if you're around everyone who's thinking, "Oh Jesus, things are tough, things are this, things are that," you will naturally buy into that as well. Like, but if you're talking to, and I chat to a lot of other people in business, and a lot of business owners, not everyone are doing quite well, and then you kind of have a positive kind of outlook on life then as well. Like, you know, so it's you do need to I suppose mind who you're spending time with and keeping company with and things like that. Like,
yeah, thing about social media as well, I find if you with the algorithm, it shows you things that they think you're going to be interested in, and the deeper down that rabbit hole you go, the further left or the further right you go.
Isn't that
so? That's why exactly society is so divided right now. Whereas when you actually break it down and have a conversation with the other side, you'll find that there's both points that you're probably right on, and the reality is somewhere in the middle.
That's exactly.
But social media, the way it's set up, it can't see that.
It's so polarizing, and I think it's a sad way to be at the moment, that you're either all on the. I know everyone is a political left, political right, but like, you can be right-leaning and still agree with some socialist kind of points of view and all that. And you don't 100%. Have to think of, do you know what I mean? You can, like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be all black or all white, like, but the way things are pushed at the moment, it's like, right, what side are you on? What camp are you on?
Yeah.
And that's a silly way to be, because you know what? People that on both extremes of beliefs, they're both wrong in their own way. And they're both seeing everything through their own lens that's also, it's actually biased and kind of incorrect, like. And again, like you said, the truth on everything and the truth on a lot of things that are going on in general is somewhere in the middle. It's in the 80% grey area.
Because life is a grey area.
But it is, like, do you know what I mean?
It's not black and white.
Do you know what I mean?
And maturity will make you realise that. I think a lot of business owners and people who are out speaking to a variety of people day to day, they'll kind of have a way of thinking like that. Whereas people, they go to work in their 9 to 5 that they hate, they go online and they're feeding into more hate, whether it be on the left or the right.
Yeah,
and they just get consumed.
I don't think it's not good for, again, it's not good for the kind of the head to be going down too much of a rabbit hole, like, because you'll get a completely one-sided view on the world, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I have noticed as well, and I was even saying to Laura at home at the weekend, like, you know, like, and you're probably thinking the same, my own little small world in myself, like my family and the life I have, great, couldn't be happier, I'm so fortunate, so happy. And you're probably delighted the way things are going to at the moment. But like, on a macro level, like the world in general, like, it's very miserable. Like, there's a lot of people are unhappy. There's a lot of negativity going on, and there's a lot of bickering and fighting, like, and a lot of things you can't really change. I think everyone kind of listening to this, like, has to kind of just focus on what you can control, which is kind of the stuff that's in your own kind of life. Like,
yeah, I remember I used to be, when I was working at Hertz, I'd get up for work, Tron Joe Rogan, I went through a phase of it. And honestly, by the time I got to work 20 minutes later, I was depressed.
Yeah.
So all he was talking about conspiracies and COVID and this and that, and just listening to that, and I was getting really into politics for some reason. It was out of boredom, and you know what? It was doing my head no favours. As soon as I dropped it, my mood improved.
Yeah. I think if you focus too much on even, like, turn on the news or RT news or this and that, like, you know, if you've seen all the bad things that are going, you ever turn on the 9 o'clock news, right? Often, you know, the headlines that come on at the start of it, like, I sometimes be looking at it, and like, you've just seen one bad news story after another. I
don't even look at it. So.
No, I don't, like, but again, you could easily buy into that kind of way of thinking, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what, as we were kind of saying about TikTok and everything, that it just amplifies everything and feeds you everything as much as possible to kind of to confirm your own beliefs, basically.
Yeah.
Other than TikTok, what has been a driver, I suppose, of business for you?
Just while we're on social media, I'm finding Instagram really slow. Really, really hard to build. Like, you built a good following after a couple of years. Did it take you 3 years to get to 10k?
Yeah, we ran a few competitions as well. Like, we gave away a car, and we gave away a few other bits and pieces. And that was at a time where, you know, like and share competitions were still kind of, they were still favourable, and they were still doing quite well and things like that. But
yeah,
it's a slog, like, you know. I think we have 16 point something on Instagram at the moment.
Yeah, because I'd much rather my followers on TikTok were flipped with Instagram, because the quality of inquiry from Instagram seems to be better.
It would, generally speaking, yeah.
I'm finding that hard. Facebook is actually growing fairly quick at the moment, even though it's early stages. Other drivers, do you know what? I'm not getting a massive amount from Dundee Cars Ireland cars on anymore. I don't know. Are people kind of gone off those a small bit? How are you finding it?
Yeah, a little bit. We do still get inquiries from it, but like I think like, so that's what, going back to it again, like, and I've been a big proponent of social media marketing for years. Like I said, I think, you know, if you go on to Dundee Cars Ireland, you're kind of, you're going on with a specific purpose of trying to find a car to buy. Whereas a lot of times you buy and sell a car, or you see a car for sale, you're not even particularly in the mood. Like, a lot of times people have bought cars off me, and probably the same as you, I wasn't even thinking of changing, but geez, I saw that thing you posted there last night.
True, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of that's an important point to note, like. But yeah, like, it's Dundee Cars. Yeah, it's just, they do work, like, but they're kind of a mixed bag. I think the two main drivers, and you're probably thinking the same as well, is social media and repeat business.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Big time for me. Yeah.
Do you find Google reviews? That's kind of a.
Do you know what? I ask a lot of people if they checked my Google reviews when they come and buy from me. They actually say no. A lot of people say, no, I didn't bother. I was like, you're mad. I Google review when I'm on holidays. I Google review restaurants.
Of course, I wouldn't even be. You go up on the map and you try and find the one with over 4.6 or something like that. Yeah,
but no, to be honest, I do. I ask a lot of people, and I'm surprised at how many people don't look at it.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
That's a good point. Like, because I've always had in my head, like, oh, Google reviews, and we'd ask customers if they were happy to leave us a Google review.
Yeah.
But, like, does it sell us? Sometimes it did, definitely during COVID, because we were doing a lot of online deliveries, and we were delivering and everything like that, and some people were paying for cars in full without even seeing the car.
Yeah, see, I don't do a whole lot of the delivery thing, whereas you probably do a lot more.
Yeah, we do. We not as much as we used to. Like,
I don't know, it just doesn't get requested. And like, I find a lot of people, if they have a trade in, I'd rather actually see their car first before I go sending the car up to them, in case.
Yeah.
Like Dave Tobin did a video on TikTok or Instagram recently where he got a car down that was delivered and got traded back. The gearbox is gone in it.
I have saw that video. Yeah. No. We definitely don't do it as much as we used to. Like, it's easier to get people down here and things like that. Like, but you do have it every kind of now and then. Like,
yeah, I find it's a small country. People come down from Donegal up from Cahersiveen to buy cars, so it's not really an issue. Delivery isn't overly important in Ireland.
And have you sold cars like throughout Ireland? We think at the moment
every corner of Ireland. Yeah.
Donegal,
Galway, Clare, Kerry, West Cork, regularly. You?
Yeah. No, we would. Like, we had a customer there at the weekend collected that Nismo note.
Oh yeah,
from
Donegal. Yeah,
Donegal.
I've seen that.
She DL played high.
Yeah. You know, he's something to rally next
year.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. Same chap actually had a wide body GT86, like, you know, the Toyota GT86.
Oh, did he trade it in?
Yeah. No, he wasn't. He wasn't trading that in.
Okay.
Like, but he was but he had that as kind of his weekend car, like.
Yeah, like, Ireland is such a small country. You should be able to sell a car anywhere in Ireland. If you've anything about you.
Yeah, no, you definitely would. Like, and how do you find with warranty when that's kind of up the country, or where that's
MotorShield? Yeah,
we've been using MotorShield well.
Yeah,
shout out to Ollie Brady.
Shout out to Ollie. Had a few issues and handled it really well. Very, very impressed. We actually get very few warranty issues because I'm working on a smaller scale to you. I can be so particular with the stock that we buy.
Yeah.
So it's like we never get a rough yoke in or something that's kind of. Do you know what I mean? You're going to get the odd one, not rough, but the odd one that will cause an issue, or you think it might cause an issue. Like, for you to feed the beast, you can't just be stocking the same 3 brands. You have to stock a wide variety. So, in my opinion, you'd have more exposure. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, Jesus,
I knew I was right. I just didn't want to insult your business model.
There's always, and I think that was one of the things I down here, and we'll have a chat about it in a minute. But, like, you know, there's kind of, it's constantly a balancing act of what scale you want to go to, like, you know what I mean, like, you know, and you have I've said to you before, like, because you have a nice little thing going at the moment. You have 1 full-time staff on the payroll, and yourself, and you're doing 15 to 20 a month and everything, that, and you can handpick your stock. You either stay at that, which is nice, it's lovely to be at, or you really ramp it up, like, you know what I mean. And I find the only thing that will stop you, I think, from staying at your is boredom and wanting a challenge. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it'll be tough. I find in business as well, you can either kind of go, you're either going backwards or you're going forwards. Like, you know what I mean? It's very tough to just stay going what you're doing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you'd have more experience in that being in business 5 or 6 years, whereas I'll probably come to realise that next year now.
Yeah.
Because every month it keeps getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And we're improving, and we're getting more units in, and I'm still really excited by how much we're progressing each month.
I still get excited. Like even last year, I was buzzing now at last year was a cracking year. Like, do you know what I mean? And but you're constantly just trying to see whether the extra investment you put in your business is going to be worthwhile, or whether to stay where you're at kind of at the moment. Like, so what's your kind of, what scale do you want to go to, or do you know yet?
Yeah, sure. Look, it changes every 6 months.
I change constantly. Yeah,
but
so I know that feeling.
at the moment, as you know, we're outsourcing. Shout out to Curtains Garage, unbelievable workshop. Like, Evan is so good at what he does. He treats me like royalty. He bends over backwards for me. As long as he can keep into the scale of what we want to do, I would rather keep outsourcing. So I think he'd be able to manage if we got up to 25, 30 cars a month. Yeah. I still think he'd be able to manage that. And if I could keep that going and everything runs smoothly with them, I think that's where I'd like to be. And another salesman or woman on board.
Yeah.
I think that'd be lovely.
Yeah, that is good. Like, and like the reason why I started my own workshop over 5 years ago was because there wasn't really anyone in Dungarvan that could keep pace with us. Just JJ around the corner was doing a good bit of our service work. But again, he was one guy on his own with another guy, and like he had his own customers and that. And we were starting to sell 25, 30 a month at that stage. And through no fault of them or anyone around here, I just needed to do it kind of myself.
See, there's 6 lads in Evans, and there's a lad for a different job. Yeah. And you would not believe the turnover.
Fair play to them, like.
It's I think they're the busiest independent in the southeast.
Would you say so?
I genuinely do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's if you can do that, like, as it's like, there's positives and negatives to doing everything yourself and outsourcing it. Like, I was insourcing. I was doing everything myself, like including bodywork and all for a couple of years and balloting and everything like that. Like, but then it gets to a point like you kind of need to just kind of niche down and kind of focus on what you're kind of good at. Like, you know, I hadn't a fucking clue about bodywork. Like,
Clonmel's a great town for trade. We've got curtains there. I have the bodyworkers behind me. They'll get a car in 2 or 3 days, and they're unreal. There's 2 great valeters in Clonmel, so I don't have a need to do anything in-house. And if I was to do anything in-house, I'd have to look for a different premises. So
yeah, so
it will be a lot of...
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of...
a lot of squeeze for the juice.
A lot of squeeze? Juice, that, yeah.
A lot of squeezing for the juice, yeah. I don't see it worth it.
No, it's not, no. I know, but that's at least... When you have that in place and you kind of know what's working for you, like kind of drive on. And on a bigger scale, like where I suppose that's your scale. What do you see kind of on the kind of environmental factors, on a kind of macro level? We'll say, like, what is the motor trade looking like, or your business looking like for this year? Do you think, like, how do you see the short term future? Like, in terms of, are you positive about it?
Unbelievably positive for the short term. Unbelievably.
And is that based on your business, or is it based on the market in general?
It's based on, it's not so much the market in general, because a lot of people in the trade, some people in trade are saying things are quiet with certain parts of the industry. I try not to listen to that too much and just focus on my own thing.
You can't, like,
no, you can't. So the economy overall in Ireland, I think, is in a fantastic position. Although the cost of living has gone up, some people on lower wages, they are struggling. There's no doubt about that. But there's such opportunities in this country. There's such business. It's the best country in Europe to do business in with low tax rate. There's a reason all the multinationals are here. So in the next 2 or 3 years, I see the economy in Ireland staying very strong.
And what would you say to the people, like, because you see so many of them online, and I'm sure there's going to be people looking at this as well that'll be naysayers and everything like that, and they'll say, "Oh, sure, Ireland is fucked, this and that." Like, what would you say to those people? Like, surely some of what people are saying is true, or would you disagree with it?
I honestly have nothing to say to them, because you can't influence negative people like that. Yeah. So I've nothing to say. Simple as that.
It's like people have been saying on my TikTok videos as well, oh, the recession is coming. They've been saying that since 2022, I think, or 2021.
When you were going out on your own, in my head, I was thinking, things have been really good here for too long. A recession is coming soon. And that was 6 years ago.
6 years
and
ago,
if I keep beating that drum, I will be right eventually, because there's always a recession coming. Do you know what I mean?
But that's the
they're
thing.
going to be right
clock is
eventually.
right twice a day, as they say. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
do you know what I mean? But people keep saying it, and they'll keep saying it, and they'll keep saying it, and it goes back to the negativity as well. And people are nearly kind of hoping for it and things like that.
Yeah.
And as I was chatting to you, as again we chat relatively, or we chat the whole time anyway. But we'd be chatting about like the people would be saying about the recession, and everyone goes back to the 2008 recession, and everyone goes back to that, and then things are bad and everything like that. And the difference is from the 2008 recession and as to what may or may not be coming now is there was absolutely ridiculous debt going around the place in 2008, 2009. You talk to anyone that was a business then, they all were loaned up to the absolute hilt.
Yeah, so price houses are around the same now as they were in 2008, and everyone thinks, oh, they're the same price now, they're definitely, the bubble's going to pop again. The last time it was a false economy. There was houses, people, normal Joe Soaps earning 30 grand a year were buying investment properties with basically 0% down payment, with no tenants to move into these properties. Of course the house prices were going to fall, but now it's a true economy because there's demand for the houses. So the house prices are justified.
Yeah.
So it's not a bubble. Do you know what I mean? It's simply not a bubble.
People just think, oh, people have a thing in their head. So what goes up must come down.
Yeah.
Now again, and like I don't mind eating my words if things turn out to be, if I turn out to be wrong or whatever like that. But it's a completely different scenario than things were back in 2008. Like I think so anyway.
It is. Like I am still preparing for the next recession because, as I said, there is always one around
the corner.
You
have to be, like, you know.
And you know, I'm a little bit more.
You're
a bit more cautious than you would be.
You'll be a little bit, but I think anyone in business, you might think that I'm all gung ho, and I am a little bit sometimes. But like I am also grounded in a certain element of pessimism as well. You kind of constantly have to get to a point of, okay, well, what if this happens and what if that happens? Like, you know, and I think the key thing is you don't know what's coming. So what you can do is just don't get into any silly debt. Don't go into any irreversible decisions, and just keep plowing on each month, like, you know what I mean? Just take each kind of month as it comes, like, make hay when the sun shines.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you have a good month this month, great. If you have a good month next month, happy days, like, do you know what I mean? Just keep plugging it away and just trying to have a kind of a solid business that you can kind of build on and things like that, like, you know what I mean? Because you don't know what's coming.
How do you see the macro? The next 3-4 years, we'll say.
Do you know what? People be asking me, I would be relatively confident. I think things are still going to be going quite well. What's happening at the moment, there is massive income disparity in the country and everything like that. And there are certain people that we've touched on before that are doing very well.
Yeah.
And while there's still a decent number of people doing quite well, these are still going to be the people that are going to be affording the assets, things like the cars, things like the houses and things like that. So from that point of view, I think like things will keep going quite well. I think once we see how this year pans out, and we'll see what happens in America, because a lot of what happens in America and Trump's tariffs and this and that. Yeah. Well, after this year, see how this pans out. I think we'll kind of have a better true picture now, because I do think it's at a bit of a little bit of a turning point at the moment. But I'd still be fairly confident.
Every year over the last 6 years feels like a turning point.
Sure, it does,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like it's been real tumultuous, but it's always ended up really well. For business owners.
Did you think, if you found, like, I found the last couple of years, like things shouldn't be going as well as, but you know why people think things shouldn't be going as well as they think they will, is because you're being led to believe by the media and by all the naysayers that things aren't actually that bad, when in reality, if you just tuned out yourself from certain areas, you know, from certain news, maybe things are actually doing actually okay.
Yeah, so. Yeah, look, I'm not an economist, I don't know much about government debt, and like you hear some crazy stuff about America's government debt is like at 130%. Like that's probably not good for the world economy. Whatever way you look at it, it could be a straw that's about to break a camel's back.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. That's something that I'm a little bit cautious of. I think the next recession won't be a banking meltdown. I think it's going to be more individual governments melting down.
There's a lot
I think certain countries are going to default and certain countries are going to benefit from it. Or maybe the whole world will collapse because a few default. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
Even with, go back to just actual car sales itself. Like, what will car sales be like in 5-10, let's say 10 years time, because 5 years is pretty close. Are you confident that you will still enjoy selling cars as much in 10 years time? And I'll give you my thoughts on this after.
I'm not.
Why is that?
Look, everyone says you're going to get sick of dealing with cars. You lose the passion for it. If I look at a 2016 3 Series kitted with new alloys, and I will still stare at that for a couple of minutes, admiring it. And that's far from the nicest car we have in stock. I'm only a year and a half, 2 years in business. I know I'm still at the early stages. I think that probably will fizzle out eventually.
But you're still excited by seeing him.
Still, yes, it's the cars that drive me on more so than the actual selling of them. It's the passion for the machine.
That's why, yeah, it's and why would you think that you think the passion will slightly go after a certain length of time because you're sick of looking at them, or because you don't like the newer cars, or which is it?
Good question. More so just from listening to other people who are experiencing car sales, that as the years go on, they just fall out of love with the cars and it turns into the money. So car sales in particular, yeah, I'm definitely going to fall out of love with the new machines. Like, I've no interest in full electric. I think hybrid is the way forward, and I think that's what we're going to be selling mostly in the next 7-8 years.
Yeah, no, I know, they definitely.
Which I like them.
No, absolutely, yeah. No, I said I'm at it 6 years. I'm selling cars in general, probably 12 years. But like, I still get a buzz when we get a nice car into stock.
Yeah.
You know, you get them down in the new photo area and, you know, and all that. It's like, geez, that looks class now. And I'm buzzing. Sometimes and the workshop would be killing us for doing this sometimes. I'd be so excited when I get in a nice yoke into stock, and Richard Blow in the workshop would be killing me, like, because we put it up on Instagram, it's like, that car's not ready to go yet, and I'd be like, oh, just into stock, and you get all the messages on it, and then we'd be wrecking the workshop's head, and we're like, here, when's that yoke ready, and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'd be going mad. But I do that because, and the lads do it as well, because they're almost excited to show it off. Lads, I'm fucking buzzing with this car that I got into stock. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's the best part
so
of my job.
That still hasn't gone for me. Like,
no, that'll never go. I don't think. When you buy such a nice, clean, low mileage, sought after example, and you know it's going to be gone very quickly, that's more satisfying than actually selling it itself.
But
it's the buying that excites me more than the selling, because the cars sell themselves.
Yeah, that was.
Would you be the same?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Like, the best part for me in the job is actually, do you know when someone messages you about a car they have for sale, right? And you're like, oh, I have a nice 2019 520 DM Sport, 73,000 kilometers, and they tell you what price they're looking at, and the price is fair.
Yeah.
You almost get little butterflies in your stomach.
Jeez, I haven't got them butterflies in a long time. It rarely happens, Paul.
No, but what I meant was, like, it's kind of like, ooh, the excitement. It's like getting a text off of when you're younger, you get a text off a young one or something like that. It's like, ooh, a nice car for stock, and you're looking for whatever the money is for it, and it's like, okay, I think, you know, it's not a case that they be saying a cheap price, but it's kind of like a price that you think a deal can happen
It's a starting negotiation, but you probably need to get it in a grand or two less, but they're not a million miles away, because then people are unicorns.
They are, yeah.
They're so hard to come across. Everyone wants London for a car nowadays, don't they? It's gone so hard to buy off the private market.
Everyone, absolutely huge money for it. Like, but again, the best part of it, and that was something that I agree with, is the buzz of getting a yoke into stock. Yeah. Like, I've like a few lads that be selling cars, like Marty and Philly, and all, they do most of the selling cars. I still sell it a bit, like, but the buzz of getting a nice yoke into stock and you knowing it'll sell and you know you'll make a few quid off it, like, that's the buzz. Like, you know what I mean?
It,
like,
yeah.
You know, and as a business owner, like, I found that you probably, when I started in business as well, and I found that I was good at selling cars, or I'd experienced selling cars, but I was fucking useless at buying cars because I'd never had any experience of it. Main dealers don't do any, they don't do buying. It's just all trade-ins or the Hertz stuff. It was just all stuff that was on the fleet. Like, so you have to get used to the buying, and then after a while, then the buying becomes your favorite part. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was something that but that's probably my. And we could do another episode about all our favorite bits of it, but like, that would be my favorite part of it. Car dealers, and we'll touch on this as well. Car dealers would have a traditionally bad reputation, right?
Yeah, rightly so.
Would you say rightly so?
I would do.
Because I was going to, I have two questions on it, right?
Right.
Car dealers have a bad rep, right? And what part of it is justified and what part is unjustified? So we'll start with the justified bit.
Okay, so the landscape.
I agree with it, by the way. But
the landscape is different now. A lot of my contacts are, we'll say, younger generation car industry people. Yeah. Some of my best contacts suppliers, I trust them wholeheartedly. I never question anything. I've never met them in person. Okay?
People you buy cars off now, is it?
People I buy cars off, the suppliers, right?
Yeah.
That's because people build relationships with you through online a lot easier now. They see your reviews. They see, they just know the word gets around quick that you're easy to deal with. Whereas before Google reviews, before social media, sure, I would have had license to pull any stroke I wanted in any customer, or screwed any trader that I wanted. So I think it was a lot more gung ho. There was a lot more you know, devilment in the industry, I think, because they were able to get away with it.
Oh my God!
Now, there were still lads who had morals like us who wouldn't have done it, but for the lads that wanted to do it, it was a lot easier for them to do it.
Oh, completely. Like, or also like, you know, I suppose nowadays as well, like people are so much more educated as well. Like, there's no point in me telling you, like, back 40 years ago or 20 years ago even, you could go in and you could say, yeah, that car will do 100 miles per gallon, right? It's not like you could Google it and say otherwise. And you had to believe someone to saying that was a good car, that was a bad car. Now customers can see 100 different reviews online about any particular car.
Yeah.
So, and they can see 100 different reviews about any particular garage. So, like, now it goes back to what we were saying earlier about the transparency and being important and just being fucking honest with people and everything like that. But like, you could... That was, I think, it was those years of cowboy dealings over the years that that got the car dealers the bad name. So you're saying, like, what's part of that is justified now? What part of the bad rep is currently justified? Do you reckon? Is it people's nightmares gone by from years ago that's still with them now, or is there still stuff going on that you think that people?
Well, the stuff that's going on now is they're exposed. So like people call. They don't say it to me directly. They say, all you car dealers doing this and that in my comment section.
That's annoying. Like, it's annoying though, isn't it? Like, it's like I didn't do anything to you. Like.
Yeah, like if you want to find out what a car dealer is like, just do a Google search. So I think you can't be putting down a good car dealer because there is no justification for it anymore. So I think everything is out in the open now. So I think some car dealers, obviously, there'll always be bad eggs in every industry. Yeah. It is justified. And car sales is linked to criminality a lot. You hear about cab raiding places left, right, and centre. So, you know, there is an association with crime there.
There's certain there's certain areas that is kind of justified as well, and there's obviously I think a lot of it is, from my opinion of it, it's all the cowboy all the cowboy things that were gone by years ago as well. Like, that people are still remembering that. Like, people remember a bad car they bought 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And also there is a few lads that bring the whole industry down, like, and that's unfortunate. Like, and I get how that would lose trust on certain areas of kind of things. On
the flip side, it's easy to stand out from the crowd when you do things the right way.
100%, yeah.
You know, it's an easy industry to get ahead in.
Just do the fucking basics right. Call people back. Be honest to deal with. Be transparent. But if you do the basics right in car sales, I think you'll do better than kind of a lot of people. Like.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no. So it's and we'll wrap up with this now, because I said we've gone through a variety of different things at the moment. Like, so Jack Martin, right? 10 years time, 15 years time, right? I know. What do you want your life to be, right? Let's say you keep making the same money you're making now, if not more. Do you still want to drive it on as much as you're doing now? Do you think, like, or where does Jack in 10 or 15 years? What does the ideal life look like for Jack?
So, be it on my current premises or maybe a different premise, just in general.
What's Jack's life going to be looking like?
Maybe 40 cars in stock at any one time.
In 10 or 15 years time?
Yeah, I think that'd be enough for me.
And
I think.
And like that's
that would be able for me to keep the business tight and give the level of service that I want. I don't want to expand too much and have quality go down. Do you know what I mean? It's not just about numbers for me. It's about the brand and the experience and looking after customers, building relationships. That's as important to me as the money.
And will you dabble in any other industries, you reckon?
I want to make investments just to make sure my future is secure. Yeah. Hopefully get to a stage where I can buy some property.
Nice one,
I know car dealers are one thing and landlords are another, and both are hated. But look, that's a safe investment, and obviously just put enough money in the coffers for our pension.
Yeah.
So I won't get into too much of that in detail. Leave it at that. What about yourself?
Yeah, same. Like, yeah. So as I've started investing in property, I've one bought and another one in the process of buying at the moment. I don't talk about much on social media because, again, like you said, people are just a car dealer and a landlord together.
That's a double whammy.
That's a double whammy. I don't want everyone to hate me. And I just, again, I may go into it in more detail going forward. But again, it's a little bit of diversification. Like, to answer your question, you had that vision in your head for 10 or 15 years time. I couldn't give you the same vision for myself.
Right.
Because I actually don't know.
Right, okay.
I'm caught between kind of two roads, which whether I'm not sure what to go down. Do I keep driving it on, and it changes the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Do I keep driving it on and expanding, and part of me wants to kind of build a garage, maybe open other garages and all that, and keep snowballing, and then all of a sudden I blink and wake up and I'm 50 and I've been working most of my life, like, you know what I mean? Or I spent some time, like say yesterday, I spent most of the day all day with with Laura and my daughter and everything like that, and you're like, Jesus, that was nice. Go out to the beach now and spend a bit of time, and we're going off to Lanzarote now next week for 4 days and all that. And it's like, because like I could take a foot off the gas and have a few different investments in here and there, and I wouldn't be making millions like in 10-15 years time, but I'd have enough money built up from these years to kind of take the foot off the gas a little bit and enjoy life to the full. So if you'd ask me which one, I don't know what will motivate me in 10-15 years time, and I don't know whether I want to be as gung-ho as possible as I am now, or whether I want to take the, so that's that. I just see how it pans out basically.
Yeah, our minds are changing year on year about what we think is achievable first of all, and what we think we'd like. But that's the game of business. Your mind is always chasing. It's a bit of a hamster wheel, isn't it?
Isn't it incredibly exciting though? Isn't it, just being in business, like, and being the master of, I know it sounds cheesy, master of your own destiny, like, isn't it? Like the buzz off it is like, and I don't know where the business will end up or what will motivate me. But what I do know is that, touch wood, that we both be in control of our own. And I want the ultimate sign of freedom, or the ultimate flex in business, is to be your own boss and be able to do whatever motivates you at that given time.
Yeah.
Whether for you in 15 years time, whether that is still selling cars in Clonmel and selling 40 cars a month, and if that is giving you unbelievable satisfaction and you want to do it, do it.
I tell you, another thing that's exciting is being in business in this country at this time. I don't think there's ever been as much opportunity in Ireland.
There is.
No, we have your issues which we won't go into, which are heavily publicised on social media. But if you're in business,
if you avoid the noise a bit,
like, things are looking good in this country. So I'm very excited about that.
That's good anyway. And I think I think you need a kind of a bit of a positive voice to go out there, and we try and drive it home as much as possible. But things aren't as bad as you might think sometimes. You know, and there's so many people, and you see young people starting out, and you see this and that. So there's a lot of people doing well, and there's incredible potential for people to do well as well at the moment. And I think, like, again, you know, to drive it on, and don't bother too much about the noise, like. So.
And I think anyone who's listening to this podcast will probably be more inclined to agree with us rather than the people who are just commenting on TikTok.
Yeah.
So yeah, podcasts are probably the audience for positivity a bit more.
I think so as well. Like, and stay away from all the negativity.
Yeah, don't watch the news. Stay off social media with the immigration stuff and all that kind of thing. Like, yeah, if you think it's an issue, fair enough. But since I stopped looking at Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, I've forgotten about it. I don't see it in my day-to-day life.
It's like what I told you about that app, Opal.
Brilliant. Yeah. I do take a few too many breaks on it.
I don't even take breaks. It might do the odd time I would do one. But
it's a good app.
Me and Jack have an app, Opal it's called, not the car brand, OPAL. And it blocks like any apps that you want after a particular time, or after a particular time you spent on it in that day. And like, I have TikTok and Instagram and all that blocked after 8 o'clock in the evenings, so I don't look at any of that stuff before bed. And I also have them blocked full day on the Sunday. Now, the very odd time I take a break. Now, yesterday I took a couple of breaks on it, all right. But where possible, I don't look at them at all. And it's good. Just there's more to life than looking into. I don't know, we do a good bit of business off social media, but you have to also be aware of the pitfalls from it and everything like that. And
like, you can lose 3 hours of your life looking at absolute brain rot on Instagram or TikTok. That's a big issue with today's society.
Yeah,
so
it is, not to be fair.
Advice for everyone is watch that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think we leave it at that, Jack.
No bother. Thanks for having me on, Paul.
That was a good chat.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I learned some things about you that I didn't even know, and we talked the whole time. So.
Yeah. There you go.
Jack.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Good man.
Nice one. Thanks, everyone.
Cut.